not even that. 3 steps ahead of these people. All right. All right, this is Sports for Real with Coach Hall. After a great opening Sunday of NFL football, I'm finally getting a chance to relax a bit. Been on the move. As you guys know, that there's this thing called Fango Media. You can find it online. And what we do, we go around to venues, home sporting venues for NFL teams, and we talk to the fans as they come out of the stadium. I just happen to be the guy that does it for Jacksonville, and heard some pretty interesting comments about what they saw about the direction of the Jaguars. Lawrence, they thought, improved his play. What's really obvious about Jacksonville is that they have an improved offensive line, and that is a huge dividend for a quarterback trying to make his way. Also, they were able to open up some holes for Travis Etienne. I get them mixed up. But in any case, Etienne rushed for over 100 yards, and that was, you don't see that too often from a Jaguars running back. And as I talked to the Panthers fans, they had an opposite viewpoint. They were saying that they got just so many holes that they just don't look like an NFL team. So the obvious question is, are the Jaguars really that much improved, or are the Panthers that bad? And that question needs to be answered, and we'll find out next week, because I believe Jacksonville, I think they go to Cincinnati. And the Bengals, they pull out a 1-point victory over the Browns, which was kind of surprising, but they're not really if you think about it, because the Browns may be struggling a little bit on offense, but their defense is actually pretty good. And they had the Bengals on the ropes there for a while, and Bengals managed to pull it on out. So Flacco is going to play well enough to keep that job because he's got 2 rookies behind him. But they have to be ready to play because he can go down at any time. So we'll see how this goes. Now, Pittsburgh, my team, they pull out a 2-point victory in New York. Kind of surprised at the high score that the Jets were able to get. I didn't think the Jets were ever going to be able to put up that many points against Pittsburgh. But I'm not surprised that Fields, he played pretty well. He got a chip on his shoulder for being, whatever he dealt with last year with the Steelers. So you're going to try to show him up. And he played pretty well. But on the flip side of that, Aaron Rodgers, he had the same motivation because and it turned out to be a great outing for the Steelers as they pulled off the victory with a long kick in. But what's surprising about that game to me is the number of points Pittsburgh gave up. Supposed to have a good defense, and to give up 32 points to a team like the Jets, that doesn't look so good. But it is the first week of the season, and with that, you pretty much speculating what you might see from a team when you go to the game. By that I mean you don't have enough information on the team to have a better game plan for them, meaning that the scores tend to be a little higher early in the season than they would be later on. So if Pittsburgh played the Jets 3-4 weeks later, I would expect it to be a different kind of ball game. Green Bay yesterday put something on the Detroit Lions, and I'm a little surprised by that, but then again, not really. Here's the Cowboys. They played pretty well, and I think part of that was because of, like I said before, the teams don't really know what you're going to do, and you have the advantage in that situation. And I think that worked in the Cowboys' favor, especially after the guy was kicked out, Jalen Carter. But be a little bit different, and I think that Green Bay, when they got Parsons, it helped make them better on defense. So you can do more things on the backside of your defense when you have pressure on the quarterback. And as I thought that Parsons would get a sack in that game, and he did. So Green Bay is going to be a team. JC, how you doing, man? That's going to be a team that's going to be hard to beat. So they're announcing their presence as one of the threats in the NFC, especially since it looks like Philadelphia is is declined from last year. They don't have that same ferocious pass rush that they had. But then again, we don't know that because Carter didn't play. Maybe he makes between the Ravens and the Bills. That was great. The Bills just couldn't get out of their own way. Every time they got close to Baltimore, Baltimore pulled away. It's what I call one of those classic chase games. You know, you're trying to catch a team, but damn, you just can't get a grip on them. But as you're chasing them, you're getting closer to them, and the other team knows you're there, but they also know they're getting ready to pull away from you. Well, that was the case last night until Henry, he fumbled the ball uncharacteristically when the game was on the line. And that allowed Buffalo to get back and pretty much tie the game up. But he went for two, and they were down by two when they went for two, and they didn't make it again. And they got a stop on the Ravens, and they were able to kick a field goal to win the game at the end there. But Baltimore pretty much blew the game because everything was going their way last night, and that fumble really hurt. But I think that Buffalo, they put themselves in that having to go for 2-point scenario over and over again because they went for it when they didn't have to go for it. And when you do that and you miss, now you're going to be chasing that point you could have had just by kicking the extra point. Worked out for them last night, but it's not always going to be the case. But Baltimore, they feel like they're a better team than Buffalo, but you can't say that you're the better team. Now you lost 2 games in a row to them. Yeah, you can run the football on them, but you can't close them out. The one thing we heard about Baltimore coming into this year is that they were going to have a better defense because they got these 4 number 1 draft choices in the secondary. Well, hell, I didn't see that last night. And just like the theme we saw with the Philadelphia-Dallas game, they called a lot of pass interference calls. You may say they emphasizing calling those interference calls, but the other side of that is those defenders, they do an awful lot of grabbing and holding, and they make you have to throw the damn flag. And we saw that last night with Baltimore. But like I said before, they can't call pass interference every time. Like when Buffalo went for 2, that guy pretty much grabbed and pushed Coleman out of the end zone. He came back in and caught the 2-pointer, but he can't be the first one to touch the ball, so that didn't count. He was grabbing and pulling on the man when he tried to throw the 2-pointer in the outside there. That was pass interference. But you can't keep calling pass interference all night long. And these defenders know that. That's why they take a chance on grabbing and pulling on these guys, because most of the time they know they're going to get away with it. Is it great coverage? No. Is it with the rules? No. But if they don't call it, is that a good play? Evidently it is. So keep an eye on this pass interference phenom as it grows throughout the year, because what's going to happen is in a critical game, these coaches pick up on all these trends too. They're going to know when the game's on the line in the playoffs, just throw it up deep, especially if you got a grabber and holder like this guy Wiggins last night for Baltimore. He's a grab and holder. Jalen Ramsey's another one. He's a grab and holder. And somebody's just going to throw it up. They're going to get a critical pass interference call in the playoffs. Mark my word now. So just keep an eye on that. Let's see what these comments say. JC says the Ravens aren't worried about losing last night. Well, they worry about their defense. The team looked good in the list. Henry had that crucial fumble towards the end of the game. You still got to finish, though. Selmo, how you doing, man? They want Josh Allen as the face in the NFL, not Lamar Jackson. Well, Lamar Jackson had nothing to do with them losing that game. He actually threw some good passes last night. That one pass he threw that Hopkins caught, that was a great catch. But it was also a damn good throw. Now, it might have been maybe that much overthrown, but he put it where it had to be to the outside. Only one person can catch it, and that's a good throw. But it may be true about they want Allen to be the face, but when it comes to the field, Allen played great down the stretch, and he got his team in position to win that game. Jackson, when he had the ball, he had the opportunity, and he made plays to keep his team in the game. So I don't know if the league have a problem in either one of those 2 performances that they had. I wouldn't. All right, say more. What do you think about the Browns like yesterday? You almost pulled it off against Cleveland. A lot of people didn't expect you to be in the game with that high-flying Bengals offense. But what a lot of people don't know is that the Browns have a pretty good defense. And while everybody's talking about the Ravens, I think the Browns secondary is every bit or better than what the Ravens have. But time will tell on that. John Hanson, how you doing, man? Both defenses are trash? No, what I'm saying is, Hanson, is that all the talk coming into the season was how Baltimore had improved, and then they used the fact that they have all number one draft choices in that secondary. That's what people are saying, that this is a great defense. But I didn't see any of that last night. Like I said, those cornerbacks, they do a lot of grabbing and holding. It's not just Baltimore. All the teams got guys on there that do the same thing, and they do that because they know they can get away with it. The referee cannot call a pass interference on every pass, just like they cannot call holding on every play. We know what's going on somewhere. Some of those guys, they block. You don't have that fullback most of the time coming through there. But if you look at some of the techniques of those old style fullbacks, when they come in there, when they get close, and the guy's close up to him like that, he's actually holding him. Dude can't get away. And he'll let go just in time not to get that holding call. These guys are crafty veterans. They know what they can get away with. Selmore says, we will beat the Ravens, I believe, after last night. Well, the clear understanding of a team comes after week 1 to week 2. You'll see a truer picture of any team after the second game. Because like I said, these coaches have an idea about what they're going to see, who's going to do what, but they don't know it until they actually play the game. Now that these two guys are on film, all these teams have tape on each other, it's not so much of a surprise anymore. Just like what I was saying about Alabama and Florida State. They didn't know what Florida State was going to do. They might have had an idea because of Gus Malzahn and the kind of offense he runs. Then Florida State might have been a little bit underrated. But once they see him on film, it's a completely different animal. So if Alabama was to play Florida State down the line, I'm not saying Alabama would beat them, but it would be a completely different game. To have them just gash them like they did, ain't gonna work. Coaches are good at adjustments, and the higher you go up, the better adjustments they become. So even though the Bills and the Ravens put up all these points against each other last night, it won't be that way the next time they play. Kind of saw the same thing last year. Baltimore ran up and down on them in the regular season. Thought they were going to do that in the playoffs, and it didn't happen. Completely different ball game. John says Washington defense was on fire yesterday. I didn't get to see a whole lot of that. I was down talking to fans at the Jaguar game, so I didn't see much of Washington, but was tracking the score. What do you think about this guy, Abdul Carter, for the Giants, Hanson? Is he that good? I know Washington defense played pretty well, but you got to remember, you did play the Giants. While they might be improved, they ain't that much improved. But, tell me, Hanson, how did Russell Wilson play, and did Jackson Dart get in the game? Like I said, I was tied up. I didn't really get a chance to get into that particular game. But Baltimore, I don't think they should be worried. I think they might be concerned about the way they blew that lead. I guess they got in their mind that this game was over and they can't stop us. And, guy Ed Oliver made a great play. He grabbed Henry by the neck and came through and punched the ball out. I don't know if he was trying to do that, but he was just trying to wrap up to make sure you got him because, Henry is a load. Knock it out of there. And that's just the way it goes, man. You play the game, anything can happen. A lot of people would say it was fixed because, a lot of the point line was like 1 or 2 points for either team, and having 15 points, that's unbalanced for the gamblers. And a lot of people think that these games are fixed, but I didn't see it that way. I think if Baltimore could have beat Buffalo by 30 points, they would have. And because of that, I didn't see any funny stuff last night. But I do think that Buffalo's got a lot of heart. That showed me that. But Baltimore, if they should be concerned about anything, is that secondary that they're supposed to be so proud of. And there's some passing teams out there that are going to rip them up. And even though they got a little bit of push up the middle, it was very easy for Josh Allen to get out of that. I think they got him once or twice all night. But at the same time, that this guy's going to scramble. So you should have had that in your mind when you set your game plan, that when he flushes out of the pocket, we're going to be there to get him. And they didn't do that. So I'm concerned about pass rush of Baltimore, and I'm definitely worried about the secondary. Of course, those guys, they figure they can fix that. Harbaugh will never let you on to what's really going on, but really, that's what's going on. They need to fix that secondary. Otherwise, they're going to be on the couch again come Super Bowl. Wilson was under pressure the entire game, but did he play well? Yeah, your Steelers won, and Aaron Rodgers looked good. Well, I figured he would because he's a play-action style quarterback. If Pittsburgh is a running team, if you're able to run the ball, play-action is going to be wide open. Same thing with the Ravens in a sense. They do it in a different way by the quarterback standing up like that and faking the handoff and running around the corner. That's a form of play-action. And when they're running the ball well with Henry, they got to honor that play fake, and his people are wide open. If you stop Baltimore's run, like the Buffalo did in the last couple of drives, then Jackson still hasn't shown that he can beat you when he has to beat you. They needed one first down. He couldn't get it. Turning point was a turnover by Henry. Yes, it was. Wilson was hard yesterday. Everybody's talking about Jackson Dart is just coming on. So look for the next couple of weeks, Dart to make his debut as a starter for the Giants. Due to injuries, they were talking about he could possibly have played yesterday, but evidently it didn't work out like that. I don't know what the final score was. Last score I saw was like 14-6. Daniels, he still played pretty well, got his rushing yards. He's a problem to deal with. And I think the Browns going to be all right. It's one of those teams that you think you can beat, but you really don't want to play them because you can get knocked off. And we see that Buffalo and Baltimore is going to be there. Kansas City got some things to fix. And we know that the Chargers are much more improved than what we thought they would be. And it's going to be a great race these next 16 games that these teams have to play. So I'd be interested to see who gets to the playoffs. But it's becoming like high school football in a way because they're inviting more and more and more damn teams. Shit, before long, everybody in the NFL is going to make the playoffs. So what's the point of the regular season? I like it the way they used to have it. You get 5 teams in there and go from there. 5 teams on each side. That's the way it used to be. And I don't think they ever go back to that. 6 definitely at the most. But 7 teams on one side. And now they're talking about if they add an 8-team game to add another team to the playoffs. You already got 32 teams, so you're telling me half the teams are going to make the playoffs. Come on, man. Enough is enough. You know who the better teams are. Why do we got to play all these extra games just to find that out? Especially in a brutal game like football. Let's get to it right away. Forget all these extra games and let's play, man. All right, this guy's great. Which guy are you talking about? I hope you're talking about me. Daniel Dow, you got class, Mr. Dow. It's all about the Steelers. We don't want to talk trash too soon. I think that's what happened to Baltimore. They figured they had a 15-point lead late in the fourth quarter. We got this in the bag. You got to play all the way to the bell, especially in the NFL. Most of the games in the NFL always come down to the last minute, last kick, last something, you know. And I think it's great. Hey, John, I appreciate that, man. I'll get to, I think that might be one of the first I ever got me one of those live stream, what do you call it, super chats. I appreciate it, man. Go ahead and subscribe, Hanson. Listen, like I say, I do that Fango Media thing where I talk to the fans. Every team has a representative. So if you go to fangomedia.com and look up what the people were talking about last year, all the fans, you find some interesting comments. For instance, Jacksonville was talking about getting rid of that GM. They want a new head coach and they need to fix their offensive line. They seem to have addressed all those different issues that the fans said that they wanted to do. So some of those fans are actually pretty knowledgeable about what's going on in football. Now, we cut the video. It should be up. If not today, it'll definitely be up by tomorrow, this new one that I did yesterday. But go to fangomedia.com and then you will find all 32 teams with somebody representing them from last year. And this year they're streamlining it a little bit, but those videos should stop popping up today if they're not already out there. And it's going to be interesting. But anyway, I appreciate you guys chiming in with me. I appreciate you again, Mr. John Hanson. And I'm glad you guys like and subscribe. But that horn is just a reminder. I got to go to work, man. I got these kids coming in here, and I got to go teach them something. So unless there's some breaking news, I'll come back on later on this evening. Well, I take that back. If there's no breaking news, I'll be back on about 6:30 in the morning. And as long as there's no disruption in my schedule, I should be on every day, and at least once during the weekend around 10 or 11 o'clock on Sundays and Saturdays. And we'll talk some college football as well as some other information. But before I go, I can't see the poll results. And I think most of you are probably going to say that the Ravens should be worried. But I'm hearing that they're talking about suspending Dak Prescott for that spitting incident with Jalen Carter. I don't know how much sense that makes, but I got to look into that, and I'll let you guys know what I find out. If not today, I'll catch you guys early in the morning. So again, I appreciate you. Like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time on the flip side. And have a great day. Meantime, I'm out. Got to go to work. I told you guys to watch out for them Steelers, man. Aaron Rodgers is not dead. He's got a lot to prove. He's going to ride out.